Hello and welcome back to the vault. I'm the Galloping Major, and this is a Let's Play in HMS Cheshire, but it's also a revisit 28 days later, or maybe a little bit beyond that, depending because of when the review came out and things like that. However, this is basically me just revisiting her after the review, giving her a bit more time, giving her a bit more legs in her journey, and revisiting her to see if any of my opinions change. Obviously the stats stay the same at the moment, but with my opinions and things like that do change. Now this is a tier 65 game of Domination and Tears of the Desert. On the enemy team we have an Akatsuki, a London in a division with a Pensacola, a York, a Mutsu in a division with a Warspite and a New Mexico, another Mutsu and a Gneisenau. So battleships, but we are top tiers. Let's see how this goes. Me and this Benham have basically said we're going over here. Our supporting battleship is not having any of it, unfortunately. So it's just simply down to us to support each other. However, I haven't been detected as I come around the corner, which is usually a promising sign. At times it means like usually a destroyer hasn't pushed up or any of their cruisers haven't pushed up as yet. However, only time will tell. So, with the Cheshire, what have I changed? Well, first of all, I have changed my commander build and some of my modules. Commander build wise, I've changed to using William Tennant. Reason being is I really wanted that steer clear, Velocious and full speed head combo, along with fully packed for the additional repair party and such, and the also the Ingenious ability. And then inspirations wise, I've changed out to using von Muller for speed, and also Lemonnier for, I'm just trying it out as an idea. I've always been intrigued by Lemonnier as an inspiration, but never really had the justification to rank him up, because I feel he's only going to be useful at a high rank. But I have found that with the Cheshire having a 17-second reload, the ability to possibly drop off your detectability when you're at range, when you're between reloads, is actually quite tempting, considering that the Cheshire does have a 17-second reload. Other things I've changed, well, I changed out my first modules. Previously I did have aiming systems. I've now changed it out for the secondary module. The reason being is, actually, someone pointed out the secondaries on the Cheshire are actually quite nice, and I've kind of known this all along, but I wanted to see, I thought I'd give it a go, see what happens if I did buff it out a little bit more, because obviously her main battery rate of fire is a bit poor. And so when you come up against a destroyer or something like that at close range, you need a little bit more DPM in order to almost hit the nail on the head. And so I found switching out for the secondary mod actually was slightly more beneficial, and I have enjoyed having that. So that is one of the things that I changed module wise. So, my opinion of the ship, has my recommendation changed? I wouldn't say my recommendation has changed. She is a tricky cruiser. She's very, you have to get into your stride of her. She's got a lot of quirks that you need to pick up as you play with her, and the more you play, the better you understand the ship, and therefore the better you can play. And that's very true of most ships, but Cheshire just seems to be a little bit above and beyond some other ships, I guess you could say. Again, like I said in the review, I'd only recommend her for someone who's looking for a challenge or has that time to, it wants to actually learn the ship. And then the other thing is, so you really want to only really go for it if you're experienced with cruisers and you kind of want to expand your horizons a little bit more, or whether you're looking for a challenge and you want to push yourself a little bit harder. I'm suspecting that their destroyer is in the Bravo objective, possibly to the south, judging by when I got detected there. Got HE loaded and picking on this New Mexico. So, yeah, and now, where does she sit on my list? Well, I'm gonna have to be honest, she's got a little spark, and she is slowly getting onto my favourite list. I actually have enjoyed playing her. I can regularly get quite good games in her. Looking at, say, coming first and second and third on my team quite often. Only coming lower on my team when things go badly, or whether it's just one of those wipeout games where we're able to wipe out the enemy team without really a lot of input from myself. Got this Akatsuki spotted here, so we are going to be pushing him. Maybe see if we can get some of those secondaries in. But it looks like the Benham's tearing her up as well. She's turned broadside onto me, so I will be chucking on my sonar on the anticipation. Well, she's laid smoke. Where has she chucked out torps? I suspect she torped someone else, though, I have to confess. Yes, yeah, she chucked torps out over there. Okie dokie. So yeah, she's slowly creeping up on my favourites list. I wouldn't say for tier 6, I wouldn't say she's going to be replacing any of my favourites, but she can make her way onto the favourites list. That's fine by me. I'm going to want to wait until I have a bit more open water, or possibly even borrow this smoke screen. Tempting. So, some of the key features of my Cheshire build that I should mention is that I have got the rudder shift at about 3.1 seconds, and I have her top speed at 39.7 knots at current. It's part of my build. The reason being is the faster your rudder moves, the faster you can respond and to incoming shots and things like that. Secondly, the faster you are, the faster you can complete a turn, and also it means that if you do manoeuvres, where you will be in comparison to where you could have been will be a lot more different. And also I find that a lot of players kind of don't anticipate a 40 knot cruiser, is the best way to put it. They kind of expect like a 35 knot cruiser. So quite often you will find battleships will underlead you for the first couple of volleys, which does obviously help with your survivability. Lemonnier at the moment, he will allow me to disengage or become undetected after a little under 17 seconds, so I can pretty much fire off a volley. My detectability will bloom out, and then it will bloom back in before I've got my guns reloaded. Now this is actually quite a nice little trait that I like. It's useful if you're playing at range, and I also find it useful at the start of the game, you know, when battleships get spotted quite early on, and you can take a pop shot and then enact your rudder, and if you do get spotted by an aircraft, you're not going to be spotted for too long, so you're not going to be pulled out too much by that. I'd be surprised if I get this. Okay, I am surprised. That was cheeky. Well, so now the enemy only have 2 battleships, and it's simply hunting them down, and this might be a nice way of possibly showing. So my tech speed blooms out, and so I've got plenty of time now to tuck it in, angle myself, because Cheshire can actually bounce incoming 15-inch shells. She just need to be obviously nice and acute, and similar to like this kind of angle, and then you can actually bounce those kind of rounds. So actually I have had some decent luck at pushing, like closing in on battleships, and then torping them at close range, almost taking advantage of them. It's only when you get very close, like sub 4 kilometers, where your bow becomes rather exposed. So up until about 5 kilometers, you can kind of be a bit cheeky and close in. Just make sure you swish yourself out to angle or keep angled as you go in. But once you get into about 5 kilometers, you kind of need to get your torpedoes out. And thankfully, with my very fast rudder shift, it does mean I can chuck torpedoes out from one side, quickly throw myself over to the other side, and then I can then have torpedoes basically ready and waiting on that side should my first volley not be successful. The Ingenious trait is quite a nice trait. I think it's very useful in a cruiser where if you do get hit, it does hurt a lot. Would I change anything with the Cheshire? Well, we do know that she is currently being reviewed by the development team as to whether or not she will receive any buffs. If she was going to receive any buffs, what would I recommend? Well, I'd love to see her repair party actually get upgraded to that of the PC version, where she has that monster repair party. I think that would just, it would give her more survivability, and also would mean that you could make one mistake and be not so bad about, you would be able to recover from it, and then also you would be able to you wouldn't be so reliant on having to take fully packed, I guess you could say. Having the additional repair party from fully packed has made her a lot more survivable, in my opinion. Other things that they could possibly change, maybe look at that rudder shift. That would maybe mean that I could free up some of my alternative choices, so I'm not so heavily focused on the rudder. So that could be a potential that they could look at. And another thing they could potentially look at would be maybe the gun reload. Maybe they go, well, we'll see if we can improve her DPM up a little bit, maybe reduce her gun reload down by a little bit. But I think in order of priority, I would say the repair party is priority number one. Next thing after that would probably be the rudder shift. Next thing after that would be the gun reload, if they wanted to look at changing Cheshire in any way. However, I think through sheer stubbornness and bluntness of just playing her over and over again, and I've just passed 400,000 elite XP in her, I've managed to actually find her stride and managed to really start enjoying her. 59,000 damage, a third on the team, which is quite nice. 3 kills, but yeah, one of those cheeky little kills still, I have to confess. Making myself a nice decent profit though. Ship service cost is 105,000 credits though for this tier 6 premium cruiser, but she still seems to earn a reasonable amount of money, I guess you could say. But yeah, all in all, quite enjoyable. If you have enjoyed this 28 days later Let's Play re-review, I guess you could say, then feel free to give it a thumbs up. If you enjoy this kind of content, feel free to subscribe. And if you are already subscribed, I'd like to say thank you very much, guys, for your continued support, comments and contributions. Down in the description is my commander build and the modules used during this Let's Play, and also the channel email address if you want to send in any of your own game captures for our Community Monday videos, and also the link to Patreon if you wish to support the channel on Patreon, as this is a non-monetized channel. Until next time, I'm the Galloping Major, and back to the port.